And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal. The full story. Real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
And good morning. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday. I'm Rich Rosso, CFP, here with Jonathan McCarty, CFP, CFA, CF everything. Just so many credentials. How you doing, man?
I read a lot of books.
You read a lot of books. Me too. A couple of nerds just hanging out with you guys this morning. So, stock futures, looks like they cut some of their losses. Dow futures down 50, S&P 12, NASDAQ futures down 64. Wall Street still on track for a winning week. We'll see how we close. I like how we are closing higher. You know, we're probably in for a little bit of a rebound today, and then we're heading into a seasonally good time of year for stocks.
Yep.
What a nice year it's been, huh?
Absolutely.
It really has been.
Not what most expected in January.
No, again, I still am always flabbergasted by the Fed and why they're cutting rates. I mean, obviously, Powell did say that, you know, listen, we're not sending any signals. We're not have to be in a hurry to continue to lower rates. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next year.
Yeah. With
the Fed, obviously. We always know that there's a new president, new administration. But the real king of the market is always the Fed. Marty Zweig, so when I was a kid, I used to watch Wall Street Week. I never really understood. I used to watch two shows, and my father would scream at me and go, "Whose kid are you?" You didn't even know who the heck I was, right? Because I would watch Agriculture USA And here I am in Brooklyn, New York, right? I'm watching an agricultural show because I couldn't wait to get out of New York, right? Even when I was a kid. And then I would watch Wall Street Week with Louis Rukeyser. And it was an entertaining show, just his whole delivery of markets. And I mean, the real first financial show out there, Wall Street Week. And it continued. Actually, I still think it continues in some form on some like a maybe public television. So Marty Zweig would always come on, and he wrote a lot of great books in the 80s. So Marty Zweig was great. But he was always like, he's always frazzled. Like came in, he was always looking like he was frazzled. I'm worried about the market, Lou. But he always said it's always about rates. It's always about interest rates. Follow the Fed. Follow the Fed. Nothing changes from that point, right? It's always about where interest rates are going to go. So next year we'll see, is it slow and steady, or are we going to be at a period, especially when we start to see policy, how markets are going to digest policy?
Yeah.
Right. It's nice with the positive animal spirits, and animal spirits mean a lot. We're starting to see consumer sentiment indicators really tick up, people feeling good about things. This is anecdotal, but I was watching some guy, he was on Fox, but he's a restaurant owner. So he's part of this consortium of restaurant owners in Manhattan. And he says the day after the night after the election, they were packed. And he had one of the best nights ever. Really? In his business, right? I mean, nothing's really changed except that, obviously the election was over. I think maybe that was maybe a sigh of relief that this is over. Yeah. And we're moving on. So he goes and he talks to his restaurateur friends, and they're saying the same thing.
I think that, most people, just because of the anticipation around this election, everyone was kind of holding their breath.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Just how is this going to play out? And if you listen to the media, this is a make or break election, although it seems to be a make or break election every election cycle these days. But yeah, once it was settled out, everyone just kind of finally was able to take a breath.
And there's, in the long term, I'm going to talk a little bit about a stat here, but in the long term, stocks always are more based on fundamentals, valuations, cash flows, and all the boring things that most advisors don't look at anymore. Short term, it is all animal spirits.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Sentiment.
It's huge. I mean, you can't put a number around it, but I'm doing this long enough, and probably you are, Jonathan, that you can feel it, right? You could feel that positive sentiment that creeps in. So when you look at that, when you look at the day after the election and the markets, I think that is the best rally post-election ever. I mean, as far as breadth and volume across the board, I've never seen anything like that. So I think it's part sigh of relief because everybody thought how contentious this was going to be. Yep. But it was also maybe because it was Trump who might be pro-business. So this Doji thing is going to be pretty interesting. If you want to pick up a really good book for the holidays, pick up Vivek Ramaswamy's book, Truths. He pretty much laid out Doji in this book. I mean, if anything, Elon Musk is listening to him. Yeah. Because in this book, he lays out how there's this layer of bureaucrats who really make decisions. Yeah. Right? And talks about all the processes and goes back to the Constitution. So if you really want to pick up a great book, pick up Vivek's new book, Truths, for someone in your family. Not maybe someone who voted for the other side. They may not like to read it. But I will tell you, regardless of your politics, Vivek is a great historian. Yeah. So I know people on both sides of the aisle who are really like history. Yeah. So I said, you can be supportive of government and understand it happens in corporations. Things get bloated. Absolutely. Listen, how many companies do you know? Like I worked for one that I had no idea what most people did, and they didn't do anything. They just hid out in middle management, right? Yeah. So it's a human thing. It's not a political thing. But to take away some of that, these people who make decisions for us that have nothing to do with the actual lawmakers, like the fourth division of government. Right. Unelected officials. Unelected officials is important. So Vivek lays it out. So I think that's probably where you're going to go. But ironically, I do think, and this is just a guess, my magic 80 ball, I still think that Trump's going to have a hard time with markets next year. I think you're going to slow down, right? Government spending is still spending.
That's right.
Right? This has been a government-driven economy, and the market has loved it because market's agnostic that way. It just cares about, hey, there's money. People are spending. So if you're going to cut so many employees and cut waste for the country, I think that's great.
I think that's the key point there, Rich. It's not just about the government spending they're cutting. They're talking very seriously about reducing workforce. They start reducing workforce, that's also going to trickle into less flow into the economy from those employees that are now out of work.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to find a way to stimulate the economy to pick up for that slack. So ironically, could be good for the overall country, maybe not so good for markets. And that's why you have to keep in mind how counterintuitive markets happen to be.
Yeah.
So this is from Eddie Effelbein, and this is why it just shows you that you cannot be a long-term investor. It's almost impossible. He's got a stat in his newsletter that I think is amazing. If you invested $10,000 in Nvidia on December 31st, 2002, by December 31st, 2014, you'd have lost 10%.
Over 12 years.
12 years you earned nada. But in the 10 years since, you have gone up 300-fold. So let me ask you, who the heck would have held Nvidia for that long as a financial advisor who would have gotten grief from his clients and or investors?
Yeah.
It would not happen. Warren Buffett would have. Nobody else. That's why
Patient
you and
guy.
you out there, you cannot be Warren Buffett. Even you, Larry Smith, on the chat, you cannot be Warren Buffett. We'll be right back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube page has all of our videos ready for your easy access. From 3 minutes on markets and money to each day's radio shows like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel for The Real Investment Show, or just click on the show links at realinvestmentadvice.com.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning. At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Small businesses are discovering that attracting and retaining top talent come down to more than just salary. In today's highly competitive job market, compensation is more than just wages. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Healthcare and retirement plans can make the difference in hiring and retaining the best employees. We can show you how to build an affordable, effective employment package that delivers true value for your workers and your business. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Medicare open enrollment is underway. If you need Medicare insurance coverage, RIA Advisors can help. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in lost benefits and penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA Advisors online resources and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that's right for your lifestyle and budget. Click on the insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So again, people were asking on the chat, Vivek Ramaswamy wrote, Truths, the future of America first. And I would say, again, Vivek, I've been a fan of Vivek for so many years, since his first book came out about DEI and other things. He's so well researched, so well sourced, so well spoken. I think he's just a benefit to the country across the board, the way he looks at things. He's a great scholar. Also, worth a heck of a lot of money.
He sure is.
He talks about his upbringing coming from India, and being so poor and his family and all that. It's just a great America story. Yeah, it's just a great story. So another great story that's sort of ticking me off this morning. So Susie Orman. So you think about technocrat elitists, and you think about who you lose track of in the working class, right? In our we talk to people every day who are working people. They're accumulating wealth. They're working very hard to manage their finances. Some are already there, built their own businesses, worked for companies for many, many years. But these are all people who worked very hard for their money and are still continuing to do so. So we try to help to create reasonable, practical ways for them to do it, right? Because it's tough, right? It's tough to retire. It's tough to save for retirement. We know there's a retirement crisis, right? We're going to talk about later some new research about spending retirement savings, a dilemma for Americans. But Susie Orman gets on, this is from Benzinga, but she gets on some podcast or something, and she talks about, listen, $3 million is not enough for retirement. Even if you have a 3% withdrawal rate, she says you need $10 million or more. Now, I will call out Lance on this because he says this. He stopped saying this because it's sort of, and Lance really understands working class people. We are understanding of the fact that if I were not in this business and I was just reading this, I would go, why am I saving?
Yeah, what's the point?
What the heck is the point for me? It's very easy for all of us to lose sight, to lose our EQ, because we're all in our little bubbles, and everybody's in a bubble. We're all in bubbles. I just remember the way I grew up, and I try to go back to that and understand how hard people work and how hard people still work. We always hear stuff about Gen Z, they're lazy and all this stuff. Because in the world of Twitter, which is 0.01% of the population, that squeaky wheel gets a lot of grease for that wheel, a lot of screaming from that side. That's not the population of America. That's not the population of the country. These are just the loudest freaks.
Well,
most people are, even Gen Zs I know, are going to work every day just trying to put food on the table, save for retirement, pay off their college loans. They're not big on handouts. They don't want their student loans forgiven. They are most people. But unfortunately, we understand that we are just in this place where we're so busy, this heuristic bias where we know where this kind of noisy cream rises to the top. So this is noisy cream to me, because if I was reading this article, I would tell people just to trash it. Because she says, now, here's one thing she says that is good. The importance of planning for the worst and doing the math to ensure a comfortable retirement, as underestimating needs now lead to fewer choices later. So she's basing it on her experience for caring for her mother cost $30,000 a month.
Wow.
Now, I study from Genworth, right? And I did a great tour of a living community, assisted living community, and an active living community called Buckingham. So I'm starting to do investigation, going out into the field and looking at these places where our clients are living, talking to the people who run these places.
The villages.
Yes, places like, Del Webb, right? Yep. The villages, they're good. Some freaky stuff going on over there.
I know that's your favorite, Rich.
Yeah, it's my favorite. I'm not going there, I'm afraid. I'm not young enough to be there. So, it's about $4,000, $6,000 a month you're going to be paying, and maybe some cash up front. $30,000 a month. Mommy's got to be in a really, 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 really good place. This was on the Afford Anything podcast that she's talking about. So it's funny, she's saying that Susie Orman says that this is a reality check for all of us, that we don't need $3 million, we need $10 million. Which alt reality do you think, Jonathan, she's talking about?
I think that really just demonstrates the detachment that happens, when you reach a certain level of wealth. You can no longer relate to the younger, to the other generations, or to the other people who have perhaps significantly less in income. That I think it reflects kind of exactly what happened in the election. One of the biggest drawbacks for the Democrats this round is that they lost the vote of the working class. Mm-hmm. And I think it's reflective of their detachment of what working class issues really are. And that article from Susie exactly illustrates that. $30,000 a month for assisted care living, they must be doing absolutely everything for her mother, or she has some type of very rare, highly specialized type of disease
or
that needs treatment.
Or she's in the middle of Palo Alto, or
very possible.
mean, it's just...
even those, I've had clients who lived in some very nice retirement communities up in that area when I lived in Los Angeles, and they did not spend $30,000
a month. Right?
Not a chance. No, it was about 10 to 15. And these are very, very nice, very posh type of retirement communities.
And she's right. You do need to prepare for that in your financial plan. We help people do that, but we have to do it in a way that's practical. Are you married? Therefore, there's going to be some partial caregiving by each spouse, right? What's the practicality of maybe aging in place for a while and then looking at a community like the Buckingham here in Houston? Very impressive group, by the way. We had a meal there that I thought it was at a restaurant. That's their normal everyday meal. Wow,
really?
But so, you have to put low six figures in to get in and get an apartment. The apartments are very nice, and then pay a monthly stipend. But they have very different ways of looking at it and programs for people that even if they run out of money, they still stay.
Well, and some of those have options where, after, so say you're doing this for a parent, and after they pass away, you're then able to sell that apartment and recoup some of that initial investment outlay.
Right. So it's very important to look at that. And even when you're a new retiree, say you're 60, 65, heck, you're not thinking about stuff like that. The only thing that jars you into reality is you have a parent that you're working with or a grandparent who is in one of these communities. Mm-hmm. And you're going through that math. Or maybe you are partially caregiving for someone. That's when someone who's even 45 that I talk to goes, oh my gosh, are we planning for long-term care in our plan because I'm working with grandma? And oh my gosh, yes. But we have to do it in a way that you don't avoid doing it.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of people are hesitant to look into long-term care insurance because, it's a sunk cost. If you're looking at straight long-term care, that's basically a sunk cost. And you're gambling on, do I need this? And if I don't, I'm spending this outlay and losing any benefit from those funds. But there's a number of products out there today that can give you kind of a hybrid feature. And one of them is a whole life policy that has like a long-term care benefit rider. And there's options out there that can give you, the guaranteed death benefit would be equal to at least the premiums you're putting in. So you're not going to lose this money. But if you do end up needing long-term care, you can trigger that. And some of these can even be set up for both spouses on the same policy. So you can get an either or long-term care rider, and that can help to kind of eliminate some of the sunk cost risk of pursuing those types of policies.
And listen, we work with all clients. We work with clients that could have Susie Orman money and may not. I have clients that have $300,000-$400,000 in their retirement account, and they have the best retirements I've ever seen. Yeah. And I've got clients with millions that are worried about their money every day.
Overhead is a big part.
It's a big part. So she's talking about this. She says in the article, she goes, well, you're talking about full-time help, so good luck getting insurance. And she's right. The number of companies creating insurance today. Now, Genworth is looking at new ways of creating new product, like subsidized housing or some ways outside of insurance to help. And there's going to be major innovations in the long-term care field. There have to be.
Absolutely.
So she goes, so you're talking about $300,000, $400,000 a year to take care of her mom. I'm like, wow.
That seems a bit steep.
And then she goes, now if it isn't sobering enough, you got other expenses, food and everything else. So you need another $100,000 a year. So now you need about $350,000, $400,000 a year in retirement. And there are some people who do, but I think it's less outside of a long-term care. It's very tough for some people to spend that kind of money.
Well, you need funds for the private jet trips, and let's be reasonable here, Rich.
Leather outfits, the Susie Orman leather collection. So she says again, you need $10 million, and the famed financial guru's advice wasn't about scaring people, but about being brutally realistic. Actually, I think it's the exact opposite. She's scaring people, and she's not being realistic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at realism, the median income in this country is about $80,000 right now. So
is it even that high? It's like 79, right? It used to be like 50 something.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say, I'm going to write a piece about this because it's annoying me so much. You can't. I'm not. In all fairness, I've never really been a big Susie Orman fan. She's usually late to the game about a lot of things. And that's okay, but she does try to help. It's just that her sphere is very small. So maybe John D. Rockefeller would go to her to be an advisor because that's his world, right? Or a tech, the CEO of Nvidia may find it helpful.
Yeah.
But I think you actually want an advisor that has some EQ of situations outside of your own.
Yep. Perspective.
To look at things on a relative basis. Because I'll share with clients when they say, hey, I only have X amount for retirement. I said, do you know what the median savings is for someone your age? And I make them feel better. You got to stay grounded. I don't care where you are on the socioeconomic scale. You have got to stay grounded to be a good financial advisor because you are dealing with people with all different types of stories, all different types of money scripts. We'll be right back.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Medicare open enrollment is underway. If you need Medicare insurance coverage, RIA advisors can help. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in lost benefits and penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA advisors' online resources and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that's right for your lifestyle and budget. Click on the insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. Realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
My son, Thomas, who really good-looking kid. And so he's starting a business for Thanksgiving to provide Thanksgiving packages.
The Real Investment Show
For
podcast.
$75, he'll show up at Thanksgiving, with a girl and tell a cute story of how they met. They'll stay through dinner and then, give the parents a hug on the way out.
Same show, your schedule.
Quite a business idea. I wonder if there's a package in there where he wears the matching ugly Christmas sweater.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
No,
to the
that's
family, too.
that's the Christmas package.
That's the Christmas deal.
coming up.
Okay,
So
got it.
yeah.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning. At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. Realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access, like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
And welcome back. Hey, when you get a chance, go to realinvestmentadvice.com. Check out our new website. I'm really proud of it. Looks great, very clean. Go to the blog. You can even filter by writer. But a lot of great stuff. A lot of really good articles about tariffs.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of these blanket statements. All of a sudden, Paul Krugman is worried about inflation. Susie Orman is to finance what Paul Krugman is to economics. He is a joker. And now he's very, very concerned about inflation. Not during the Inflation Reduction Act that did the exact opposite.
Right.
So, but go and take a look. Mike Leibowitz wrote a piece, really excellent piece. I was telling clients the other day that, well, you might have the opposite effect from tariffs. Being more disinflationary or deflationary because we don't have the same deep pockets that we did when the government was just handing everybody checks for no reason. So you might see that, hey, I might change my buying behavior a bit, and I don't think they're going to be as dramatic as people are looking at. They may be used more as a threat than anything else.
Yeah.
There's one important thing is that, we do need to spur our own technologies and other things. We may not be building toasters anymore. We may not need to do that. So really excellent piece. Also, Lance is going to be writing about tariffs. So you're going to be, if you want to know everything about the T word, you're writing about it.
Well, I think that's Trump's version of the big stick. Right?
That's what I think it is.
It's the threat of the tariffs that will help negotiate, really.
Well, I read a great article in the Wall Street Journal the other day about how some companies are front-running that. They are buying more materials. I wrote about this in my book 12 years ago, how more companies would start to look at Vietnam and more of these frontier markets and move away from China. That slowly has happened over time. But in this article, there are big companies saying that that's what we're doing. We are moving everything to more of the frontier economies and out of China.
Yeah.
So that's been something that, and Lance says the article on tariffs is already out there on the blog. So you got Mike and Lance. Again, what you're hearing in mainstream media versus what they're writing is really very different. It'll give you a different insight with that. So, but what were we talking about? Because Lance interrupted me. Sorry, Lance. Sissy Ormans. I like that. Sissy Orman. Not Susie Orman. So the blog, everything looks great. So the point I'm trying to make is I have no idea. Take a look at the website. Let us know. Next year, we're going to have a lot of great stuff that's coming out. The last thing I'll say about it is when we do plans, we try to be, again, very practical, help people understand within their own bandwidths what they can handle. It's not to scare them, but to add realism and help them get to it. So Vietnam, great article in the Wall Street Journal about that. So the Wall Street Journal also polled readers about the best thing about retirement. And listen, I don't know what that is. I don't want to know what it is. Like, I cannot. In other words, I don't like the word. It's just like when I went to the Buckingham and they used the word senior. I don't like that word. I don't like the word
geriatric.
Yeah. I mean, it's so today, if you're 65 today, it's very different than when, say, your grandparents retired at 65.
Yes.
It's just different. Lance says it's dueling tariff blogs. We're putting a tariff on them, though, if you want to read them. Boy, he's funny this morning. There's no tariff he doesn't like.
That's right.
So you have to define that retirement. I can't remember if it was Jamie Hopkins, who's a great financial planner, but or he terms it rewirement.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think differently about it because you're probably going to be much more active, and you should be, because someone I can't remember who said it, maybe Java Joe. You have got to try to look at health equals wealth.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in saying this, Jonathan, that in the next 5 years, we will have a nutritionist on staff. I think that the healthier you can be, at least if you want to spend money, it'll be on the things you want to do.
Correct.
Right? So that is an investment. When people come and they want to cut their budgets and the first thing they want to cut is the gym membership, I'm like, no. We're going to make sure you're using that. And by the way, is there another membership to something else you can do?
Right.
Pilates or something else. And they're shocked.
Well, especially in retirement. I mean, if you're not taking care of your body, it will deteriorate very quickly, just like your mind.
Isn't it amazing how fast you can deteriorate? Yeah. Even if you just sit there and watch a movie and you go, I feel like I just melted into the couch.
Yeah.
So as sedentary as we are, as sedentary as kids are, we have to understand that if we stay healthy and we follow rules to stay healthy, and doing that even much earlier before retirement, you got to figure out what retirement means. So Wall Street Journal did this. So it's a real nice kind of the story when people are talking about, hey, I'll live on my personal time clock. I sleep from 2 a.m. I get up at 9 a.m. Awake refreshed. I have all these different activities. But what I've learned more in these comments are how many people are learning, taking on new skills.
Yeah.
So important to keep your brain active, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah,
right. You can go to fudge real fast. Like even during COVID, like when the markets where they are and things are closed and you go, oh my gosh, I better read a book. As I'm talking to clients, I mean, it's so easy to fall into a sedentary habit.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandmother's a great example. I mean, she's in her 80s and she still works part-time helping with accounting, during the busy season, just to give her something that's engaging and stimulating. And she doesn't need to do this, but this is a way that she can keep her mind sharp and keep active.
I bet it helps her a lot.
It does, yeah.
And to stay social, right? Because
Right.
what I notice about women, they're much better at handling whatever that definition of retirement is than men.
Mm-hmm.
Men, now I could watch Gunsmoke all day. I could watch The Rifleman all day.
That's classic.
I could watch it. Women are going to go out there. They're going to meet their friends. They're going to be social. They're going to do other things. So I've got to keep my mind on something like that. It doesn't help that I live in a place that you really can't go outside very often. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But more people that are continuing to enhance their skills as I'm looking through this, taking on new, like this guy's going, I just took up new languages.
Yeah.
I went to Babbel and taking on new languages, right? But they're always reading, biking. Like, I think if they did this in 1977, watching my favorite show on TV with a cup of coffee and then having a piece of cake, going to sleep for taking a nap. I just think it's so like your grandmother. I have clients that I know that are in their late 80s and they're still working part-time or doing charitable work. And
like they said in the chat, I mean, you need purpose. It gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
And I think men need to define it more because I just lost a really wonderful client of mine who was with me for close to 30 years. But after his wife died, he just was not the same.
Yeah.
Really active guy, smart, still always smart. But there was a point where he just didn't even want to walk anymore. Like he lost the purpose.
Yeah. Lost the will.
And listen, that's going to happen to everybody. At some point, you almost have, I always tell people you have a clock that'll time, like an internal clock that knows when it's right to retire. But it's also like, is it time for me to sort of move on?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not feeling the purpose anymore or, other things. So, but he stayed active up through a very long period of time. So, and I could still have conversations with him up till about 2 weeks before he died. Like I would call him and engage him, and his brain was razor sharp. I gave him a book called The Alamo Reader, which is about, not kidding, 700 pages.
Wow.
And he was reading he loved history. So anything on history, we could talk about the Alamo, we could talk about the markets. He was reading the Wall Street Journal. even up to 2 weeks before he died, his brain was sharp as a tack.
Well, and that's like, Charlie Munger, great example.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant, sharp mind all the way to the end.
You've got to die well. And what I mean that is you have to stay as healthy as possible up to that point. Keep as active as you want. So the other comments was about really, and we're seeing this a lot in our planning trends, grandparents spending a lot more time taking care of their grandkids because childcare costs are stupid, right? So you do have, I have a lot of relocation goals. It's funny. Grandpa's like, why do we got to go move? Grandma's like, I'm going where the kids are. I want to go where the kids are. Well, we can get on a plane. No, I want to go where the kids are. I see this overwhelmingly by women.
That's my mom to a T.
Is that your mom?
That is absolutely.
Then your dad would be like, or he said, oh, what? We could just get, why do we got to be? No, we got to be where baby is and all that. And listen, that's what happened to my daughter. We moved from Florida to Texas to be closer to my ex-wife's great-grandmother. My ex-wife is a great woman. And it was invaluable.
Yeah.
It was invaluable, her having that time with this woman, her grandmother, who was I love to death, wonderful woman. So you're seeing a lot more of this happening. So there are a lot of best things about retirement, and maybe it's not really retirement for you. You're still working. Maybe your schedule's a little bit more flex, but you're doing things and you're appreciating it, and you have lots of gratitude when it comes to that.
The best thing about retirement for millennials will just be getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be right back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube page has all of our videos ready for your easy access. From 3 minutes on markets and money to each day's radio shows like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel for The Real Investment Show, or just click on the show links at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Small businesses are now being challenged by the lack of employees and how to attract and recruit the best employees. To get the better employee, you'll have to offer a better package. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Don't assume a 401k plan is too costly or complicated for your small business to offer. Let us show you how to make the most of an affordable and effective plan that will deliver true value for your business and your employees. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning? At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Medicare open enrollment is underway. If you need Medicare insurance coverage, RIA Advisors can help. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in lost benefits and penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA Advisors online resources and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that's right for your lifestyle and budget. Click on the insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
As Grandma Rosso would say, we are having an agita. RMD agita. Heartburn, Brent. Agita. Because the IRS, when they want to do something, they screw it up royally, and then they double down on the screw it up royally. It used to be pretty simple. I have an inherited IRA, non-spouse, and I go ahead and my grandpa dies, grandma dies, she leaves me an IRA, and I take the money out over my life expectancy, and I have to at least do RMDs. But I got my life expectancy to take the money out. And then here we go with the Secure Act and these recent IRS regulations, and it has made beneficiary IRAs the worst assets, according to Ed Slott, for wealth transfer and estate planning. I absolutely agree, and it is a tax time bomb. Not only that, the IRS has waived RMD requirements for IRAs that were created, say, after 2020, people who have passed away sooner rather than later, because you have to take this money out over a 10-year period. So if I have a pre-tax IRA, and the government's telling me this year I don't have to take an RMD from it, but next year at least I have to start. Well, all you're doing is prolonging the inevitable of, regardless, you're going to be taking out more than the RMD anyway. So unless you're going to have a big change to your tax situation, like I do have a couple of clients that said to me, Rich, I understand I don't have to take an RMD this year, required minimum distribution for everybody listening, but next year, I know you're going to bother me to take it, but next year, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. Right. Okay. All right. I'll buy that. But there is no way in heck, for the most part, am I telling you to postpone the RMD. I'm telling you to ignore the IRS. Let me ask something. Do you think the IRS is doing you a favor?
They've got your best interest at heart.
Oh, don't they?
Yeah.
Did you read the report about how many IRS agents don't pay their taxes?
Really? No, I didn't.
Yeah, there's so many tax cheats or tax deadbeats inside the IRS.
You know, the carpenter's house and the dentist kid's teeth. It makes sense. Yeah.
So the thing is, the stretch IRA is gone for most beneficiaries. So you want to make sure to take those RMDs. So I will say, and this is from Ed Slott, there are 3 different categories of beneficiary, and the rules within each category are different. First, I got non-eligible designated beneficiaries. These are your 10-year rule people that are told, you don't have to worry about taking an RMD this year. I've got 10 years. Even if I'm in a lower tax bracket, you're going to push me in a higher one. And guess what? Am I going to wait to the end of the 10th year for a pre-tax IRA? Or am I going to start aggressively pulling money out of that every year?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I mean, that is a great disruption to anybody's tax situation, depending on the size of the IRA. Where this does work, and I'm sure Ed gets into this, why we're so pressed on and so important to do the Roth conversions on these assets. If you have a legacy asset and you have professional children and you want to do a non-spousal IRA, it's a no-brainer to do Roth conversions and have Roth IRAs. So if I have this Roth, well, we have clients now that have sizable Roth IRAs, and they do have children as beneficiaries.
Yeah.
Those children better come over up here and kiss us on the lips. Well, not all of them. Some of them. Yeah, you know who you are. Because why do we, except for the required minimum distribution that I'll have to take every year, which is completely tax-free. I'm going to let that sucker sit there.
Let it ride. Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not touching that darn thing.
Just not an Nvidia from 2002 to 2014. That's the only thing. Yeah.
So this 10-year rule is a killer, right? There are ways to avoid it, but for the most part, if it's a non-spousal IRA, is going to be a problem. So this is what Ed says, and we tell this to Gen Zs all the time, right? Cease funding pre-tax 401 and 401k contributions. The closer you are to retirement, we talk about the diversification of accounts. If you have all your money in pre-tax, I go to Jonathan. I go, Jonathan, hey, look, I did everything what Wall Street told me to do. I saved $1 million in my pre-tax IRA. And now I want to, buy my dream car. I want to buy my dream car. Ford Pinto, 1976. That's
Nova.
Also, Nova. A Nova. Which means don't go. Yeah. Or Yugo. A Yugo. I want to buy my dream Yugo. Listen, there's a whole cult group of Ford Pintoists, as I call them.
Of course there is.
That are putting together the craziest 1977 redos on Ford Pintos I have ever seen.
It's a very explosive movement.
It is, very. Especially from the rear. It's like, you would think they developed the Ford Pinto at Taco Bell. Right? So you have to remember that if I go to Jonathan and I go, I want to take $100,000 out of my IRA. And Jonathan goes, oh, well, let's see. Do you realize how much you're going to pay in taxes on that? Oh, yeah, okay. And do you realize now you're going to get taxed more on Social Security and you're possibly penalized on Medicare?
Yep.
No, I didn't know that. Oh, so let's say your $100,000 car is really going to be $175,000, $150,000, right? Say now you were working with us and 6-7 years before retirement, you shut off your pre-tax contributions and you turned on your Roth 401k contributions. You did surgical Roth conversions throughout, and you come to me and I go to you and I go, oh, Jonathan, hey, I got $500,000 in my IRA. I got $500,000 in my Roth, and I want to take $100,000 out. You're now able to say, okay, let's see how to do this from both accounts to where we're not going to budge your taxes at all. Thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate it, because I get more than often than not clients who come to us, new clients, and will go, I cannot believe I had all my money in these pre-tax accounts, and I'm not going to fall into the lowest bracket, especially early on in retirement.
Yeah.
Now what do I do?
Well, and it's not just about the next generation. You know, a lot of times clients ignore the potential for Roth conversions. And one thing that a lot of people don't consider is the widow's penalty, right? If you have all of your assets in pre-tax IRAs and you pass away, your spouse inherits all of that, which is great, goes right to them. Mm-hmm. But then they have single tax rates instead of married filing jointly. That's going to increase their tax liability. It's also going to usually decrease their financial resources in retirement, because you're going to lose one Social Security payment. You may or may not lose a pension payment, depending on what you have as far as income sources. So there's a lot to be said about some careful planning ahead of time in bettering your overall financial picture and minimizing your tax situation for retirement for yourselves and also for the next generation.
Right. So Ed talks about this Roth IRA solution, right? Series of Roth conversions over the next several years. And we're getting some slack from people who say, well, what about if the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act doesn't go away? Yeah, more years. I think I sent you all a plan that I did for both, modeling for Tax Cuts and Jobs Act to sunset or not. Roth conversions still work. Yeah. Especially when I have heirs that are going to be making decent money, right? It still works. So you want to go ahead and continue. Roth conversions. Roth IRAs are your best gifts for beneficiaries, right? They're subject to the same payout rules, but who cares? It's all tax-free.
That's right.
Right? So another option he talks about is reducing IRA balances to withdraw those funds at low tax rates and pour them into permanent cash value life insurance. This sounds like he's been talking to Lance Roberts, right? You don't do this before age 59 and a half because of the penalty, but that is really good for, obviously, if you have a legacy intent, life insurance, right? If you want to keep your estate intact. But also what people don't realize is you can use permanent life insurance if you fund it early enough and it grows enough that I can take an income stream. I've had a client who's he did all Roth. That's all he's ever done. And he also had overfunded permanent life insurance since he's like 48, 49 years old. Now, when I did his withdrawal analysis, he's going to be taking out $150,000 a year.
Tax-free.
Completely tax-free, which means his Social Security is 100% tax-free because Roth and life insurance doesn't go into the equation for taxation, right? No IRMA. So how much, and he's very active, right? They travel and all that. That's 150 grand tax-free.
Yep.
Completely across the board. So people have asked me, well, what about this little loophole where you're taking these policy loans and all that? Listen, the insurance lobbyists, there's no way. I know. I think Biden even tried to stop that whole thing.
Good luck.
It's too powerful for anybody in Washington. I don't care if you're Trump or anywhere else. It's not going to happen. The Matador on chat goes, Outlive by Peter Attia. Great book. Must read. You're right, Matador. That's another good book for your holiday list. Outlive by Peter Attia. Excellent book. Matador is very impressive this morning. Just don't kill any bulls, because I do like those little animals. I don't like killing them. Well, that's all we got. I think next week we're on a little bit of a holiday break, but I really do hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Hey, listen, call the Butterball hotline and do a prank call. I've been doing that since I'm 12 years old. If you need a list of things to ask, I got them for you. You're going to like them. Other than that, we hope you have a wonderful holiday. Again, read about the tariffs, realinvestmentadvice.com. Sign up for the newsletter. We will see you when we see you after the holiday. Take care.